Hello friends, we are here again to discuss a new topic and a very interesting one, that is execution of a program. Execution of a program is the main part of your programming. If we are not able to successfully execute our program, then there is no need of make a program, because the programming is done for the output and the successful output is only after the successful execution of a program. So here we will discuss the execution of a program, and during execution of a program, the problems we face, those problems are known as errors. So today we will discuss about errors, testing and debugging, types of errors, syntax error, logical error, runtime error. Now, what is an error? See, errors are also known as bugs. You know bug, small insect types? Yes. In the programming field, the error is known as bugs. In the multinational companies or the software engineers, they never use the term error, they always use the term bug. So errors are also known as bug. A programmer can make mistakes while writing the program. It's obvious to make the mistakes while we do anything, either in a real life or in a program. So these mistakes are known as errors. The program may not execute or may generate wrong output due to these errors. See, generate wrong output, which may destroy our full hard work. So it's very necessary to detect these errors and to remove these errors. So let's proceed. Removing errors, the most important part. Now, there are two steps to remove the errors. The first one is testing. Now, what is testing? You might have heard about the testing that, for example, whenever we try to gather a new thing, we always go through a testing feature. A testing feature. A testing feature is always available for everything new you are going through. Okay, a testing phase is always there. So, testing means the process of identifying mistakes, also known as bugs. Yes, these mistakes are bugs or called testing. Means testing is to identify the errors. Now, to remove those errors, we have a new word, that is debugging. Debugging means removing the errors. The errors which we find during the testing phase, we remove during the debugging phase. Now, types of errors. We have three types as we see in our index: syntax error, logical error, and runtime error. Now, what is a syntax error? Interpreter interprets the statements only if it is syntactically correct. Syntactically means syntax, something we learn from the very starting of our Python. Everything we start in our Python is going through its syntax. We first learn the syntax. Now see, here is a simple example. A equals to 5, B equals to 6, and there is some calculations. Okay, when I run this program, it's run successfully. For example, let's say I am changing this statement like 5 equals to A. Now I have changed. In mathematics, it is correct that either you write A equals to 5 or you write 5 equals to A. Both sentences have the same meaning. But now what happens when we have written 5 equals to A? Now if we run it, when we run it, see there is an error. Cannot assign to literal. You know what is literal? Literal were constants. You read into literal in the identifiers keywords chapter. Okay, literals means constants. So when you read about the literals, you also read about the rules of identifying, rules of identifiers when you declare the variables. So there was one rule that we can't take literal on the left hand side of the statement. So this is the syntactically incorrect. We can't take 5. Now, when we change it, say like this. Okay. For example, in this statement, I'm taking this and forget to apply the right parenthesis. Now, again, try to run. Every error has a specific name. Now see what's the error? Invalid syntax. Of course, only the right parenthesis is allowed, not only the left parenthesis there, right is missing. And the error part is showing highlighted in red color is this, because your interpreter thought that braces is started over here, but there is no ending because this ending is of this. Then where is the ending of this bracket? So this is an error. So successfully run this program, we need this, like this. Okay, when we did this, see, now this program will run. I'll show you. When this program get executed, this is the output. So to get the desired output, to get the specific output, we need a successful execution of a program. And for the successful execution of a program, we need a complete error-free program. So let's proceed. In the syntax errors, if any syntax error is present, the interpreter shows error messages. Of course, we have seen that when we try to assign a literal value, then it shows a message. When we forget to apply the right parenthesis, then it shows the message. It means every syntax error is shown by interpreter with a message, so that we can judge where is the problem and we can rectify it. For example, here is the example of parenthesis as I shown there. Now, next one is logical error. So in syntax error, we see that it's easy to find out the syntax error where the problem is, because these are detected by interpreter. But in logical error, the difference is a logical error is a bug in the program that causes it to behave incorrectly. Now, how a program can behave incorrectly? Let's take an example. For like, example is, see this. Here is a program. Okay, enter first number, second number. There is an average and print average. Okay, if we run it, it's absolutely correct. As to find out the average of any numbers, we sum those numbers and divide by the quantity of those numbers. Now, see this. I have removed these brackets. Formula is same, a plus b divided by 2. Now, run this program. Now see, when we run this program, it shows something like this. First number, for example, I have entered 56. For second number, I have entered, let's say, 34. Now the average is 73. What should be the average? See, 56 plus 34 should be 90, and 90 divided by 2 would be 45. It means the average of 56 and 34 is 45, but we are getting 73. Now, see what's the reason behind it. Let's back to our program. See this. Here you entered a number, here you entered a number, and when we entered these numbers, a plus b divided by 2. When we learn operators, or even in the mathematics, we know that division has the higher priority than the plus minus. Division and multiplication is always solved before the plus and minus. So here also that rules applies, and this division take place first before this addition. That's why when we enter the numbers here, one was any numbers, it first divide the second number with 2 and then add the division in a. That's why we get the wrong result. See, when we executed here, first number was 56, second was 34. So first the logic, according to our logic, it divides 34 by 2, it gets 17, and then it get added 17 into 56. That's why we get the 73. According to our logic, what we written there, interpreter has shown our result perfectly, because interpreter is a software which takes command line by line in sequence. Okay, so sequentially it does it as we command it. So there is no mistake of interpreter. This is the logical error. This is the mistake in logic. Let's see another example. For example, I did this, and here I write, see, I write here division is, and we write A divided by B. This is the floor division to get the integer division. Okay. Now what I have written this. Now when we execute this program, see, run it, and when we run it, we get, see, first number enter 78, second number enter, let's say 2. Division is 156. Is it correct? This is the product of these two numbers, but we are expecting the division. We are expecting the quotient here. Now, what's the problem? See the problem. Problem is, by mistake, we write multiplication instead of division. So, syntactically it is correct, but logically it is incorrect. And logically, logical error is developed by the programmer, by our mistake. So, these are known as logical errors. So, logical errors are hardest to find because as you see here that interpreter doesn't detect logical errors. It only detects the syntax errors. So, logical errors behave incorrectly. As we see in the example that we expect the division, but it shows the multiplication because of our mistake. So, the only evidence to existence of logical errors is the wrong output. We only get to know about there is a problem when we get the wrong output. So it's very hard to detect the logical errors and to correct them. Example is, same example hai, if we want to product of two numbers but mistakenly we write A plus B. Okay. Now, next one is runtime errors. See runtime errors. A runtime error causes abnormal termination of program while it is executed. Now, abnormal means something which is not normal, which is not in the sequence. Now, let's take an example for the runtime error. Runtime error is something like, see, here is a program, a simple program, division of two numbers and printing of this division. There is no problem, not even a single mistake in syntax, not even a single mistake in logic, because we expect division and we are doing the division. See, now, if we run it, see, in the execution screen, enter the dividend, for example, say 56. Enter the divisor, say it is 7. Is correct? Now, when we again run it, see, when we again run it, for example, again we did 46 and again we give, because 0 is not an integer. Now see the error. Everything was perfect, but the problem is, see the error, 0 division error, division by 0. As you know, division by 0 is infinite in mathematics and infinity is nothing for the system. Your system doesn't know what is an infinity. So division by 0 is infinite. Division by 0 is undefined in your system. That's why it is a problem. And this problem is known as runtime error because you have encountered this problem after the execution of your program. So this is runtime error. For example, let's say we run once again. Now, enter the dividend. Dividend, it is expecting an integer for division. Let's say I have mistakenly entered y. See, now the name of the error is value error because you have given the wrong value. It expected was integer, but you have given a corrector. Invalid literal for int with base 10 y. Instead of given an integer, you give a y. That's why it is also a runtime error because the syntax was correct, the logic was correct, but the problem was in after the execution when you give the input to the program. So these kinds of errors are known as runtime errors. Okay, I hope you got my point. So runtime errors are only visible after the successful execution of your program. Runtime error is when the statement is correct syntactically, but the interpreter cannot execute it. Division by 0, 0 is also integer, syntactically it was correct, but division by 0 is not defined. That's why interpreter was not able to divide that particular number. We have for example, we have a statement, yes, again the example of division by 0. It's a very common example. So here we see that there are 3 types of errors: syntax errors, which are detected by interpreter and easiest to find out; logical errors, which are hardest to find out because we detect it. not the interpreter, and runtime errors which detect only after the execution of your program. So let's sum up. Here we learn mistakes done in a program are known as bugs, testing to find the errors, and debugging is to remove the errors. Errors are of three types: syntax, logical, and runtime. Hope you get my point. Thank you so much. In the next session, we will discuss a new chapter. Till then, thank you so much.